Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Welcome everybody to episode 86 of Born to Be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I am your host, as always, Nate Wolf. It's great to be back on a cold winter evening here in Portland, Oregon. I was out last week due to surgery, but I'm on the mend. I'm back. I'm excited to be here with a really fun set review show for you tonight. As always, joined by two of my favorite people, Hydra Sheep. Welcome back. How you doing tonight?
I am doing awesome, and it's nice to see you back. I'm glad that you're done with your surgery and you're on your way to recovery. That's great. Coming at you guys from the greater Vancouver area, where is also a quote-unquote cold winter day. I mean, it's not too bad. There's worse places to be. No snowfall yet, but I am also excited for the show that we have tonight, and I'm just happy to be here.
Very good, very good. And of course, Electric Sheep City. Great to see you. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Doing pretty okie. Ready to rock and roll. Talk about some new cards. Glad that you are on your road to recovery further and further each day. And I hate to break it to y'all, but you know, I live in Southeast Texas. It was 80 degrees earlier today. If I could wear shorts to work, I would have. So, yeah.
So no frost on your windshield this morning?
No, a little bit of, like, dew from it being, like, so warm overnight.
Oh, my gosh.
What can you do?
Right?
So,
well, yeah, I was just going to say, we've got a little bit of a change up for y'all tonight. So I hope that it's fun, and thank you all for being here.
Absolutely. So for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. Let me briefly explain how this show works. So, of course, we record the podcast live every Friday evening here at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube the very next day. Nate's incredible and does quick work at it. Audio versions are also distributed to all podcast platforms. However, you're watching or listening to this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Awesome. And hey, before we get to the main topic of our show tonight, I want to say a big, quick thank you to Shokunin and to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, comment on this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, it would help us out a ton. Another way to support the show is to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or your podcast platform of choice. This helps other people find the show. And hey, if you're watching it live on Twitch, thanks for joining us tonight. We do have a bunch of awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to this channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime, and working with our artists to get a couple more emotes on the way. So that's really exciting. Finally, you can join our Patreon for some great bonus content for as little as $1 per month. If you'd like to interact with us, please join our Discord. It's a free and amazing online community with friends that we've made all across the world who love talking about Wild Hearthstone. Links to all this stuff and more can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. All right. Hydra, what is going on this week?
Well, this week in Hearthstone news, we have the new expansion, Fractured in Alterac. It's coming out next Tuesday, December the 7th. That's really quick. By the time you're listening to this, it may be out already, or it's coming out in the next couple days. So this is really exciting. The new cards have been posted on the Hearthstone website as of the 24th of November. And so we've been taking a look at these cards. Hopefully you guys have been too. And that's going to be the focus of the show tonight. We're going to be talking about these cards.
Awesome. Okay, so the main focus for tonight's show, like Hearthstone, or like you can tell I'm rusty because I took a week off for surgery.
I am Hearthstone.
Like my friend Hearthstone, like my friend Hearthstone was saying over there. Yeah. So this is the set review. Okay. So normally, historically, we've done a full-length, in-depth analysis of all of the new cards, which typically lasts like 8 to 10 hours, and we are not doing that this time. So a little bit of a different approach. Okay. As a Wild focus show, it's pretty typical that only a handful of cards have a meaningful impact on Wild each expansion. This is because the decks that we see in Wild are typically so refined that a new card has to be either good enough to replace a current card in an existing deck, or to create a brand new deck or archetype, which happens from time to time. Definitely
Defend the Dwarven District.
yes. Yeah, the quest lines in general were like, oh my
Yeah.
God. So yeah, we saw that definitely big shakeup last time with the quest lines, and we saw our first ever banned wild cards, which was pretty crazy. So here's what we're doing tonight. Rather than going through all of the cards, we independently reviewed every card for the entire expansion. We scored them, and then we tallied and averaged the scores, and then we've got our top 13 cards here that we're going to talk about, in particular why we think they're good, how we think they'll impact the Wild meta, and kind of get into them that way, because it's not worth talking about a bunch of cards that we don't think are going to make a difference. If you think we missed anything, please let us know. It's always fun to be proven wrong. So yeah. Anyways, without further ado, we're going to jump straight into it. So I will kick off the first card and then pass over to Hydralisk. So the first card that we're going to be talking about tonight is Spammy Arcanist. Okay, this is a neutral card. It's an epic 5-mana 3/4 with Battlecry. Deal 1 damage to all other minions. If any die, repeat this. Like, this card is crazy. It's basically Defile on a stick, right? I mean, it's a 5-mana Defile, but it's got a 3/4 body as well. And but it's neutral, so you can play this in any class. And by the way, it's odd, so if you for some reason wanted to jam it in any of your odd decks, like, you could do that. So yeah,
Perfect for Odd Demon Hunter. Let's go.
I forgot about Odd Demon Hunter. Is that a thing? Oh man.
Odd Paladin, kill all your dudes.
I do think this is strong, though. I mean, Defile goes in basically every single Warlock deck, right? And now we've got like a neutral Defile. I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, it's really difficult to kind of score the cards in a vacuum without playtesting them. So, like, I don't know, but the effect seems so strong. So I'm looking forward to this one.
I think it's worthy of noting that it says all other minions. It doesn't just say all minions, because if, like, then it would have, it's got only 4 health, then it would just kill itself eventually. Right?
Right.
So no matter what, it survives. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and someone compared this. Someone said, "Oh, 5 mana, it's so slow." But then someone said, in Warlock for the longest time we played. Oh God, now I can't think of the name. The 7 mana one that did 2 damage like repeatedly until something lived.
Lord Godfrey. Yeah.
Godfrey. Yeah. Absolutely. So if Godfrey is 7 mana, we could play this at 5. I think it's definitely interesting. So
yeah, I think of note the fact that it's 5 mana. Yeah, it's a little bit slower, but the kind of harder thing to achieve with that is that you have less mana to ping things off or get them down to where they're at that break point to defile things off. That's the really powerful thing with Defile, is that only being 2 mana, you have more mana to get things down to where it can be a full board clear. So I rank this one a little bit lower, which is why it is one of our lower rated cards here.
Yeah. All right, Hydra, what do we have next?
All right, next on our list is one of the hero cards. It is the Shaman hero card. It's 8 mana. It is Brucan of the Elements. And it reads, Battlecry, call upon the power of 2 elements. And to be noted, it gives you 5 armor as well. Now, these 2 elements that it speaks of, there's actually multiple options of elements that you can get. So the Battlecry, you can get either there's lightning invocation, there's earth invocation, fire, and water. Now, you get to pick 2 of these right off the bat as your initial Battlecry, and then afterwards, your hero power is just to use one of these each turn. So I'm going to read off what each one of these does so that you can understand. But the lightning is deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. The earth is summon 2/3 elementals with taunt. Fire is deal 6 damage to the enemy hero. And water is restore 6 health to all friendly characters. So I really think this is a really interesting card that could slot into multiple Shaman decks right now. Seems like a really good control style card. You can either clear the board, you can get defensive, you can, go face because there's the option to just deal the direct damage. So you have options. You get those first two, and then afterwards you have your hero power, which I think is really, really neat. What do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, I think it's really, really cool. Very versatile. You can choose from, you have the option of all four of them. And then of note too, whenever your very first hero power comes up, it'll be one randomly between the other two that you didn't choose in your initial pick, right? So if you really, really, really want to do three of them, you can choose the two that are most important, like, dealing with the board and healing your own face. And then you can roll it for, the taunts afterwards to, that's your dream, but you'd rather have the board clear, and the healing more than that. I don't know. Kind of depending on what your needs are, you can kind of suit that in and of itself. So after that, it's all random. I think it's really, really cool, really versatile. Being able to just have that basically like Dr. Boom rotating hero power is so cool. And they're all really powerful, like feral spirits, but without the overload and cheaper. But what?
I'll take it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. For sure. And, this is interesting. I like the versatility. I think it was, Goliath who said that it's kind of a throwback to Kalimos from Journey to Angoro, which I think is cool. And, I don't know, like I scored it a little bit lower, I think, than y'all did, just because I wasn't kind of sure where this fit, but I think that I like the versatility and maybe some kind of control shaman comes back, maybe big shaman comes back, maybe we throw this in Shutterwalk, something like that. Because it's just kind of the late game swing seems fun to me. And hey, if you play it with Shutterwalk at some point, like you can refresh your two elements again or whatever, and maybe pick two different ones. I don't know. So yeah, it seems fun, but yeah, this is a neat card.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't end up seeing play, it'll be a fun card. So it'll worm its way into some decks on that value alone.
I swear, for the hero cards are always ones that I'll craft in gold, and so
yeah.
I'm excited for these anyways. I'm sure the animations will look rad, and always excited for new stuff. All right, Sheep, what's up next?
Yeah, so our next one is another hero card, and that is Zyrella the Devout. So Zyrella is, of course, the priest hero card. She is 8 mana. The battle cry: trigger the death rattle of every friendly minion that died this game. Like the other hero cards, she gives you 5 armor. And then your hero power becomes one of 2, and it rotates as well. So the 2 titles are Holy Touch, restore 5 health, flip each turn. The other side of that coin is Void Spike, deal 5 damage. Of course, flip each turn because it flips back and forth. So you can heal for 5, then you can deal 5. So if you're trying to control the board, 5 damage is substantial. If you're trying to go face, I mean, that's a Mind Blast. That's pretty powerful as well. And then if you're healing up, you're healing for 5. If you're healing, if you're, some sort of death rattle big priest, you're healing your big minions on board for 5, or healing your own face for 5. So the hero power itself is really powerful, and you get to engage all of your death rattle effects. That seems, it's a different take on a big priest, but it could be a kind of death rattle big priest build that I'm excited to play around with. Will it be as good as regular big priest? Probably not, but it'll be pretty cool. Well, variety is the spice of life.
Let me ask a question. Hypothetically, so I see it in big priest, I do, but aside from that, like, okay, this hero power flips each turn. How does this work with Raza? Like, if my hero power does 5 damage, and then refreshes, like when it refreshes, is it going to be the same or is it going to flip? And when, no, I'm sorry, you can only use it once, huh? I guess it's the
that gives you
it's the and one
refresh.
that gives it refresh. All right, my bad. Okay, I was like, I got excited for a second. There was like 5. That's a lot of mind blasts.
Yeah, that would be broken.
That would be insane, right? I do see it in Big Priest because right now, like, they're running Scrapyard Colossus, so even the value off of that,
That's just gross.
there's potential there. If you'd have to build the deck a little bit differently, right? But if you put in the Infiltrator, our favorite greetings,
fellow humans.
right? So you destroy your opponent's stuff. You can use Light Shower Elemental to gain some health. You could start using the Obsidian Statue again to kill their stuff.
Kill more things.
And so it's a little bit different build, but like that's a pretty big whammy. I mean, and it's interesting. I was looking at the Tempo Storm meta snapshot earlier today, and Big Priest is on it. I think it's tier 3, maybe tier 4, but like this could bump it up again potentially. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's pretty interesting though.
I'll give it a shot for sure. It seems fun.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, or you want to play for the memes? Then we can. Like my favorite old deck was always like Reno Nizoth Priest. And just hey, throw the quest in there as well. So
Awaken the Makers.
Yeah. So not only do you have 40 health, but then you get to trigger all the death rattles over again. I don't know. Maybe it's too, maybe it's too good to be true. Maybe it's a meme. I don't know. It's difficult, I think, right now because typically like games are decided on like turn 5, turn 6. And so something like this is definitely going to be in a slower deck, but
yeah.
Is there any death rattle deal X amount of damage to the enemy hero?
There are some new cards that say deal X damage to a random enemy, which could go face potentially, like if there's no minions on board. But like,
just thinking of some random combo OTK potential.
Oh, Lepronome, yeah, Lepronome.
Yeah,
we'll see.
There's the 3-mana one that deals 3, 4, something like that. That's actually a priest minion as well. So you could have Cobalt Sand Trooper. That's the one. And Shadowed Spirit, Backstreet Leper. So there are a couple of possibilities there.
That would be pretty interesting, actually. Yeah, Shadowed Spirit would. Yeah. Okay. Well, this could be fun.
That's a completely different Zyrella deck.
Right?
Popped into my head.
Mind blown.
Yeah, this could be fun. All right. Our next card up here is a Paladin minion. This is Stonehearth Vindicator. It's a 3-mana epic 3/1 with a battle cry. Draw a spell that costs 3 or less. It costs 0 this turn. It's a shame that it doesn't say draw a spell that costs 4 or less.
Yeah.
I would love it if
Call to Arms.
Yes, absolutely. Like if this pulled call to Arms, it would be crazy. That being said, I think any time that you've got like targeted draw, it's a good thing. You like this could go in any sort of Libram deck. It's odd, so it could pull any of your holy spells in an odd Paladin deck if you want to run it that way. But targeted draw is great, and I think if you're looking for kind of a specific build, this definitely has potential.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
I think the fact that the targeted draw makes it cost 0 this turn is also fairly consequential. Like the body's only a 3/1, so kind of meh body,
right.
But the fact that you're tutoring a card that then you have the flexibility of playing that turn because you drew it that turn, like unless your opponent played Loatheb, like you can play it, right? And then you also have the flexibility to hold on to it if you don't want to play it that turn. You'll have to pay for it in subsequent turns, but the flexibility that it affords, even if it's on 3, right? You can play Vindicator on 3, get a Hand of a Doll. Oh, hey, all of a sudden Vindicator is a 5/2 that draws you yet another card and just continue cycling, continue thinning your deck. It's just a, targeted draw, discounting cards. We love both of those things in Wild. What do you think, Hydra?
I think anytime I see something that's targeting something in your deck, I'm scared. because right now it could be something as simple as, you're playing Librams and you're trying to get your Librams out of your deck, or this is an odd paladin and you just played muster for battle on top of this because it costs 0, and like, I don't know if it's good odd paladin, but what I'm saying is it's got so much flexibility that it could go in a control deck when you're trying to tutor your combo, right? Or you could be just trying to thin your deck, whether it's like in a Libram deck or odd paladin. It just seems like it can go in multiple different places, and I love that flexibility. So I think it's definitely a great card and could be an auto include in a lot of different decks.
Yeah. How does this work with Lotheb or like Cult Neophyte? If, they say your next spell costs, 5 more or 2 more or whatever it is, and then you play this and it says it costs 0 this turn, like, is this going to override, or is the Lotheb effect going to override?
So historically, the Lotheb effect would override, but they did just change the way that some of those interactions are working. So I haven't kind of played around with that effect since then. But the way that it's kind of been explained, I think that this card will actually override the Lotheb effect. But I don't know that for sure because it's new interactions. We'll have to play around with it to kind of be sure on that. But I believe that this will override that. So it's definitely different. We'll kind of have to see. But historically, Lotheb would override it, but maybe not anymore. We'll have to find out.
What? You haven't played with the new card yet?
Well, so the new interactions have already rolled out. It's just that I haven't played, around with that aspect of it quite yet.
Yeah. No,
now I'm going to.
It'll be interesting.
You don't know till you know.
Right.
Exactly.
All right. What do we got next?
All right.
Is this me or is this you, Sheep? This one's me, right?
That's
This is you.
But I'll be talking about you. All right.
There we go.
So what we have next is a 7-mana mage spell called Mass Polymorph, which reads transform all minions into 1/1 sheep. Into a bunch of our co-host here. All over the board. So this is totally worth it if I'm just gonna spawn or transform everyone into my friend. That sounds pretty cool. But at the same time, if we were just talking about Big Priest, right? Mm-hmm. If Big Priest comes back in a big way, if Big Priest comes back in a big way, this is just like earth-shattering, right? Like your game plan at this point is to concede because you're gonna just have a bunch of 1/1 sheep in the pool. I mean, you could be stubborn and keep playing, but it's pretty brutal. Also, there's things, I know like Cube Lock isn't in the best spot right now or any like sort of Demon Lock or anything, but if it does come back, this is also something else that isn't the best for that. Like anything that, you eat something with your cube now, it's just polymorphed, right? All of your Void Lords, polymorph. You don't get the death rattle, so it can be disastrous for all of those decks, and it's a little expensive, but it's worth a slot if that's what the meta is and you're running some sort of arena mage, LPG mage, something like that. I think that this would be a great meta choice if that's what you were looking at in your certain pocket meta. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that polymorph costs 4. If you play 2 polymorphs, that costs 8. I think this costs 7, and it can be a lot more than just 2 polymorphs.
yes, it can.
Yeah. This is great, and I think again, the meta is particularly hostile right now, and maybe it'll shake up with the new cards. But for a long time, it was like lots of Big Priest. We'd have, the Warlock decks, all like Reno Lock is running a bunch of Death Rattles, and it's running Demons. I was playing a little bit earlier this week, and even now with even Reno Warlock, it's still running both Blood Reaver Gul'dan that brings all the demons back. It's still running N'Zoth that brings all your Death Rattles back. Like, this just kills the board. And this is always something that, you could high roll off of Kazakus. Like, you're looking for a Mass Polymorph Kazakus potion, that costs 10. So this is cheaper, and like, that you're going to get this. Like, I would, pray to Ben Brode and RN Jesus for a Kazakus polymorph potion, and then be frustrated that it didn't want to give me one. Right? And so this card just seems good. Now it's slow, right? Okay, so Wild, it's really fast right now, and so that's the concern. It's that's really slow. But even after Luna's Pocket Galaxy got the mana cost changed, that people still played it for a long time, and it's still a decent deck. I think now there's cards in this new set that reduce the cost of spells, and if you can stall, it just seems like a solid card. Now you have to be alive after whenever you've got 7 mana to play it. But aside from that, it just seems like such a strong effect. It seems really good. I already know that I'm going to be raging when someone plays this on me, right? That's kind of how you can, at least that's how I will test my logic. How mad am I going to be when someone plays this against me?
It even destroys other synergies too, not just for death rattles, but when there's murlocs or pirates or whatever, they're feeding off of each other, right? All the different synergies and the buffs and whatnot. It wrecks all that as well, right?
Yeah.
So
it reminds me of, that priest card that everyone was running for a while in Big Priest. This is back in the day, but it was basically, it would say silence everything and destroy all minions. And it's a little bit different, but because they're getting polymorphed, the death rattles, they don't trigger anything like that. So yeah, this is great. Seems great.
Oh, and it's Hydronox tech, because when they bring back a beast, they're gonna bring back a sheep.
And really, doesn't that mean that they win because they bring me back?
Oh. All right. Sheep, what do we got next?
Yeah, so next is Shivering Sorceress. Shivering Sorceress is a 1-mana 2/2 mage minion with no tribe and the battle cry. Reduce the cost of the highest cost spell in your hand by 1. So I'm really excited for Shivering Sorceress in particular to play it in some Spiteful Summoner decks, some big spell mage decks, and let's be real, sometimes those two can be the same deck. I originally, I've been playing around with building some. I honestly don't think in that deck that I want to include the card that we just talked about, Mass Polymorph, because I want to be making big minions. And making my own big minions that get polymorphed, probably not a great thing. But if I'm tutoring out big spells, 8-cost spells, 9-cost spells, if I happen to draw one, oh, hey, look, I can discount it a little bit. I'm playing a 1-mana 2/2, aggressively statted. It's got not just a lot of attack, but a lot of health for a 1-mana card. So, even if you don't end up getting value off of the battle cry, you're playing aggressively, you're able to contest on board. It's just all around a good card to play, especially whenever you actually have synergies that work well with your deck as well. So I'm really excited for Shivering Sorceress. How about y'all?
Yeah, the only downside I see is that you have to have the spell in your hand in order for it to reduce, but it's kind of a build around, and at the end of the day, a 1-mana 2/2 is still really good. So yeah, it seems strong to me. I mean, that's, I guess, how it ended up on this list.
Yeah, it's a 1-mana 2/2. It's the best stats that you can really get for 1 mana, and it's got mana cheat attached to it. So I think it's an amazing card. Also, it can, at that point in time, even if you're looking just, if you got more of a spell-oriented deck or whatever, you're contesting the board. Even if you have another game plan that is spell, related with spell synergies, you're contesting the board of this pirate. This can kill both Patches and Azaz First Mate, right? It's got 2 health. It can even trade up into other things that are 3/2s and whatnot. So it's definitely a solid card. I think it's great.
Yeah, for sure. All right. The next card up is another mage card, actually. This is Siphon Mana. So this is a 2-mana common arcane spell. It says deal 2 damage, honorable kill, reduce the cost of spells in your hand by 1. Honorable kill is the new keyword here. What that means is you have to have exact lethal on a minion. I believe it works on your opponent as well, although that doesn't really make sense. Like you wouldn't need it then, but the
Doesn't
honorable
matter.
kill mechanic, right? So deal 2 damage. If it kills a minion with exact lethal, then it reduces the cost of spells in your hand by 1. So anytime I see something that says reduce the cost of your spells by 1, like, it's good. This is a common card, so you can put 2 copies of it in your deck. It only costs 1. So here's the other crazy piece, right? It's an arcane spell, so this works with the spell schools. I know it's gotten nerfed, but the questline mage in standard has been pretty bonkers. I wouldn't be all that surprised if it got reverted when it went to wild eventually. Maybe, we'll see. But the mana reduction, I think, is good. The other piece is it says deal 2 damage. It doesn't say to a minion, so this can go face. If you've got spell damage, that works. Where I really could see this is in something like Mozaki or whatever. Like, this is crazy. You can use it to kill a minion and reduce the cost of the spells in your hand, or you can buff it up and ship it face, whatever. So there's some utility here. So there's some potential, and like, I don't know, but at the end of the day, like, spell reduction seems good. So yeah, Hydra, what do you think?
Order lull. I guess you got to remember you could probably have a way bigger turn if you're paying attention to what you're doing. Maybe you have some Sorcerer's Apprentices down, and then if you don't notice this is in your hand and you play your other spells first, you could totally make a mistake. But you play this first and everything gets reduced even more. I can see it just being gross. I already get frustrated when I'm versing mages, and I feel like I'm going to get more frustrated when this one's played. That's why it's a good card. I think it's because it's going to make me frustrated. So it's mage already reduces all the time so much, and this is just adding to that. And you're probably going to get it randomly generated as well. You're going to discover it. You're going to discover copies of it. I think it's going to be a little bit gross. So good card. Sheep, what about you?
Yeah, y'all said it all. The versatility of being able to go face, if you're going off with Mozaki, or discount the cost of spells in your hand to then go off with Mozaki. The versatility is there, and as someone who likes to go face quite a bit, the fact that it can go face, that it's versatile like that, is not to be overlooked. Absolutely. Really strong card.
Yep. All right, what do we got next?
Next, we have a 2-mana druid spell called Capture Cold Tooth Mine. And the text reads, choose one, draw your lowest cost card, or draw your highest cost card. So for me, this is almost like an ultimate tutor where you actually have a choice, because druid, they like to pull off combos. They like Aviana Kun. They need Innervate now because of nerfs, right? Guess what? You could either get your Innervate or you could get your Aviana or Kun off this. Like, you get to pick whichever one you're missing, right? Like, this just seems like a guaranteed I'm missing the piece of the puzzle and I need it now. And oh, look, I have it. So next turn I got you, kind of thing. So I think that when you have a card like this that is really targeting and you have a choice, like it to me just seems like it goes perfect in a combo deck. And I think that we will be seeing this card. What do you guys think?
Yeah. This card's
Absolutely.
nutty. I mean, I don't know. Sheep, you go first. That's fine.
Yeah, draw is good. I think we were just talking about tutor draw just a little bit earlier. This is tutor draw or tutor draw. Like, you being able to choose which one you're tutoring for. Like you said, druid likes to combo off. If I'm looking for a specific card, I can do it. And I can look for a couple of them. It's brilliant, especially with one of the ones that we're not highlighting here. But we are getting at with this set as well, is a druid minion where you play it and it does the other choose one. So like if you play this, I think that one's a 3 mana minion. Maybe it's 4, I can't recall. But say you play this the turn before, you get the highest cost from your deck, or lowest cost, whichever. Then you play that one the very next turn, because it doesn't have to be the same turn, and then you can get the other one. So you can draw, you can tutor both things. Like, this one is more powerful than the other new one, hence why this is on our list and the other isn't. But that combo could be really powerful as well. Tutor draw good, multiple different options of tutor draw even better, all around amazing card. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, and what's crazy is, for those people playing on desktop that are using a deck tracker, like, what that card is going to be, at least, for the most part. And we've seen cards in the past that are similar to this. So take like Talon Fordring, for example, right? This is the legendary neutral minion with Death Rattle, draw your highest cost minion. And that got played in so many decks, both standard and wild. And it's just really good because you know what you're going to get. The other card that came to mind here was Lorekeeper Polkelt that was played in Reno Priest that says, it's a battle cry, but reorder your deck from highest cost to lowest cost. And we all played that in Reno Priest for a long time. And so here I get to choose. And like, I'm sitting here looking at the cards in my deck and I know, if I've got multiple cards that cost the same, okay, then there's a little bit of a gamble, but that I can pick essentially, like I want this one or I want the other one. Like, it's just crazy. And I can throw two of these in my deck if I want to. And we all know, Druid, I think, is like one of the master combo decks. And we've seen over the years, Starliner Druid, and we've seen Mechathune Druid, and Celestial Alignment is a card, and
Waggle Druid,
right?
And Line Cracker Druid,
right? And Malygos, and so many things. And so if I can tutor the card that I'm looking for, like, it's just nutty. This card's crazy. So will it backfire? Yeah, sure, it'll backfire. Maybe you don't get the one that you want or whatever, but like, yeah, it just seems really strong.
Can you imagine if this was a priest card?
Oh, it just threw up in my mouth
Reno
a little
Priest
bit.
would be back on top,
right?
Sure.
You made me upset.
Yeah,
it's not a priest card though. It's not. Breathe easy.
Wow. All right. What do we got next?
Yeah, so that brings us to Lakhalar the Ice Lord. So Lakhalar is a 10 mana 8/8 elemental. It's a legendary minion. You can only run one of these buddies in your deck. It's got Rush and Wind Fury. And it also costs 5 less if you have 15 health or less. So if you can discount this card, the fact that it says it costs 5 less, guess what? That means that if you've discounted it somehow to 8, that means it costs 3 if you have 15 health or less. Probably not going to be relevant, but worth noting that it's not specifically gated to that. Which is just kind of interesting. But also, Rush, Wind Fury, 8/8, Elemental's probably not as relevant for our uses, but Evenlock is going to absolutely love this card because they like damaging themselves, getting low. All of a sudden, I'm paying health to draw cards, so I'm getting low. I can drop this, I can control the board, and then guess what? Once I've controlled the board with the Rush, the next turn, this buddy's going face for 16. That's incredible.
Yeah.
There's a reason why this and all the subsequent cards that we're talking about were tied for our number 1 slot. And you can definitely see why with Lakhalar, the Ice Lord here.
Oh, yeah.
What do y'all think?
I gave this one a 5, which is like the best, this is like nerf potential here because this immediately goes into probably any Warlock deck, right? Because you're just tapping. It goes into even Warlock. It goes into even Reno Warlock, which a lot of people are playing both of these decks right now. And like you said, like Rush Wind Fury is great. Next turn when it hits for 16 is just crazy. Assuming that it survives, and it's so easy to reduce your health in this game. So I don't know, and the fact that it's neutral is even crazier. I mean, this could go in. We're seeing some kind of funky elemental support in standard coming up for like Freeze Shaman and stuff, which like I don't know, or hey, your elementals have lifesteal or something like that. Like this is. I don't know. Seems good to me. And if you have to play it for 10, you could play it for 10. But yes, what? My God. I saw the look on your face.
Paladin has access to High Priest the Call. which we've used historically to drop Molten
Oh.
Giants stupid early. We can drop Molten Giants. We can drop
And
Wakalar the
this.
Ice Lord. Yeah.
There
I
you
have
go.
that deck in all gold, so I guess I got to craft this one gold.
Oh,
I don't think that's
wow.
going to be tier 1, but that's going to be a spicy meme.
Yeah, hey, a five mana 8/8 rush Wind Fury. It's the rush also that I think
Yes.
that gives it the oomph here. It's not necessarily like the Wind Fury is good, but it's the rush because you can use it immediately. So yes, I think it's quite good. Yeah, this card seems pretty crazy. The call.
Yeah,
oh man.
I've been upsold on it even more, even though that's not going to be that good of a deck. I'm going to play it. I think this is just great, whether it's in Warlock or just for the memes in Paladin. Maybe that will be good. But anytime you've got that cost this much less, if you do this, they're usually pretty good. Sometimes there's some, outliers there, but we've learned with stuff like Corridor Creeper and whatnot that these are good cards, and this one looks like a good card. So I'm all about it. I'm going to play it.
Oh yeah, and as it turns out, I guess this is one that we're all getting for free from the rewards track as well.
Oh, no way.
I don't know if it's on the paid track or not. I haven't.
If I recall correctly, and it's been a little while since I've looked, the not gold version is on the regular rewards track, and later on the gold version is on the paid track. But I could be misremembering.
I would like this in gold.
I know, right?
Yes, please.
I also could be misremembering, so don't quote me on that. The fact that we're speaking on a recorded podcast.
That Electric Sheep City, he told me at Celestalon.
Oh god! Oh god! Is somebody look it up for us while we're talking about the next card. All right, so moving on, the next card is one of our free legendaries here, Drekthar. This is the Horde champion. 4 mana 4/4 battle cry. If this costs more than every minion in your deck, summon 2 of them. So I chose poorly, to quote Indiana Jones, and I did not pick this one for my original gold one because I read it incorrectly. But this is basically like it's a call to arms on a stick, and so you have to be running a bunch of 3 cost and below minions. But you drop this, and it plays 2 of them, which right off the bat, like any aggressive deck likes this. I saw a few people experimenting with it in aggressive decks. I saw people playing it with pirates to kind of, limited success, but I think that this is just strong in general. It's really aggressive in general, but where this card has been nutty over the past 2 weeks is that if you play some of these mage decks in Wild, this will pull your Sorcerer's Apprentice, it'll pull your Flame Wakers, and then you can just kill your opponent. So I lost to it this past week when the ladder reset.
Me too.
And so like
Me3.
this is crazy in Wild in particular when you build around, like this is you play this card and you win the game. So yeah, it's just nutty. And the fact that we're all getting it in gold for free, I was so disappointed at first. I was like, I picked the wrong one in gold, and then read further that we all get them both in gold. That's great. And so what I'm really hoping for is that this one is the one that wins out, so that we get it in diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it will
has
be.
to. It has
Yeah.
to.
I hope so. They said that there's a very small possibility that if the numbers are like exactly 50-50, they do both of them, which doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah, that would have to be a minuscule possibility, though.
yeah. Anyways, yeah. Hydra, any thoughts on this card?
I knew it was good when it was, I think, turn 4 or whatever. I was a pirate warrior. I got them down to 1 health. I was versing a mage and got them down to 1 health. And then this dropped and I lost. Like, I was like, how? Like, the game, like, I just had the perfect draw that you could possibly have. Cannons are out. I'm firing off with my 1 cost pirates, and I still lost. I couldn't believe it. It's gross. When it happens to you, you will remember. So, great card. Sheep.
Yeah, Call to Arms is great. We've known that for years now. Neutral Call to Arms. I mean, do I have to finish that sentence? It's fantastic. It's incredible. But I feel like we've stumbled upon, one busted combo already in the short time that it's already been out. I think that we'll probably find more. This was kind of the more, I don't want to say obvious combo, but I mean, more obvious combo because it's one that we were already running. I imagine that we'll see more of them, eventually, because it's neutral. It's called arms, essentially, right? It's just going to be. I'm not going to say abused. I'm going to say theory crafted around and abused
Yeah.
to great success, and already has. So the possibilities are not quite endless, but almost.
Nice. All right. What do we got next, Sheep?
Yeah, so Hydra's going to take this one away, and I know he's excited to do so.
Hydra, what do we have next?
Next, we have the Rogue hero card, and that is Shadow Crafter Scabs. So this is 7 mana. It gives you 5 armor, and its battle cries: return all minions to their owner's hands and summon 2/4/2 shadows with stealth. So this card, it does a lot just straight up with its battle cry. Okay, so it's a built-in, like, it has vanish, right? So great for a control mill style sort of deck. At the same time, it also, not only does it clear the board, whether you have something on there or not, whatever, you're putting away whatever they've done. Maybe their hand is full, maybe you milled a bunch of cards, but now you're also putting 2 Jungle Panthers on the board as well, right? And those are 3 mana each? So that's 6 mana extra, basically, that you have not spent to put 2 Jungle Panthers on the board.
6 mana for Vanish, 6 mana for 2 Jungle Panthers. That's 12 mana already, Hydra.
It is. Also, you get 5, count it, 5 armor. I think Ironhide from Ungoro does that, and that costs 1. So that's another mana, right? And what is your hero power? Oh, it's prep for everything, basically, right? So you can prep spells, and you can prep minions, or like it's really cool. It does so much. It has so much value, and I think it's a really good tool that is going to go in future control style rogue decks, whether you're doing like a Reno control sort of thing, or you're going to be comboing off later, or maybe even a mill deck because it's got Vanish built in, right? Like I don't know. It just has a lot of potential. It's got just so much value in it, and I think it's fantastic. I'm going to craft this one in gold just because I feel like if you're going to be playing that style of rogue, like a more controlling rogue, you're going to play this card in your deck because this is the new rogue hero. I think it's great. Sheep, you got some thoughts on this card?
Yeah, I think that you play this in pretty much any rogue deck, like aggressive rogue decks. Okay, vanish your opponents. We were talking about cubes earlier. Boom, your cube no longer is going to poop out the minions. You have to set that up again. You vanish your opponent. You're playing against a big priest. Boom, Scrapyard Colossus gone. Pay full price again, right? If I have some little tokens on the board, or I'm doing some stuff, okay, I get to do Salcy Deckhand, attack in, do this, play Salcy Deckhand again. Awesome. If I have nothing on the board, boom, here's 2/4/2s with stealth, so I can hit you that way too. I feel like this works great in an aggressive build. Of course, it works great in a more controlling build because you're vanishing, you're dealing with your opponent's threats, you're discounting things later for them to be even cheaper, which any deck wants to do, especially any rogue deck, right? I think this does everything rogues want to do in multiple different archetypes, and it just, like, you can't go wrong. Like this card is rogue, and this card is exactly what we want to do. We're going to be playing this for the rest of Hearthstone, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nate?
I just look at it and all I can think is combo. I mean, the hero power is crazy, and it's not just like prep works for spells. This says the next card you play this turn costs 2 less. And so it's
unnerfed innervate.
Yeah. No, this is crazy. Like the hero power, it's crazy. And so, like you were saying, I think the versatility factor is really high here. That, yes, my initial thought was, all right, well, I can play this in my like mill rogue deck, which really doesn't see any play right now. Maybe it comes back, I don't know. But then, the other decks recently that have been really good is like Pillager Rogue, which could be really crazy. Hey, this not only does it pull everything off the board for my opponent, but hey, this also it sets me up for 8 damage with the stealth, but then I can use the hero power for 0 to reduce the stuff cost of stuff even more. It just seems all around like crazy good. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say. I'm not a rogue expert, but like, it just seems great. So yes, Goldcraft seems wise. I like it, definitely.
Yeah, I'm absolutely crafting this in gold as well. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna craft this next one in gold just because that would get real expensive real quick. But our next card is Ice Trap. So Ice Trap is a hunter secret. So of course, 2 mana. It is epic. So that's why it'd get real expensive real quick. That'd be 3,200 dust for 2 gold copies. It is a frost secret, and it reads, when your opponent casts a spell, return it to their hand instead. It costs 1 more. So I've heard that counterspell's pretty good. I've heard that, Oh My Yogg is pretty good. This isn't quite as good as those cards because it doesn't completely eliminate it, but it does return it to their hand. So they've already expended the mana, and then if they want to play it again, they have to expend the mana plus 1. If you're playing like a big spell mage and you played a 10 mana spell, guess what? Now it costs 11 and you can't play it anyway. This does everything that hunters want to do. It completely interferes with your opponent's game plan. Yeah, it doesn't completely eliminate it like, some of the other things do, but it slows everything else down. And when everything else is slowed down and you're not, because your hero power is deal 2 damage to the enemy hero, you can just keep on trucking, right? So slowing your opponent down, which keeps you from being slowed down. There's a reason why this is tied for our number 1 pick.
Yeah, the card just seems busted good. So, whatever spell it is, not only has your opponent already paid the mana cost, but then it doesn't work. Like, it just goes back to their hand, and then they've got to replay it again for 1 more. And so, yeah, I don't see the downside. I mean, I don't think that we're running a ton of secrets in Hunter right now, but that's, not to say that we couldn't do it. There's a lot of secret support in this set. And so, this card seems great. I don't really see a downside here. So, hey, maybe we'll see the return of Secret Hunter in some form, or figure out some new Hunter archetypes to play this in. But the card seems awesome. I love it. Hydra, any thoughts on Ice Trap?
I think it's going to be super annoying. So, right? Because even if, let's pretend it didn't become meta, people teching this in, you're trying to play around it, you're going to get frustrated when someone's playing this. Even if it isn't like a meta great card, it's going to get annoying. But I think it most likely, if we're playing secrets, you're going to play this. We have spell heavy metas currently, like all of the hunters right now that are playing spells to complete their quest. You got 1 mana, they play their 1 mana spell. Oh, guess you can't now, right? Like, it's just, you delay them to the next turn. Possibly could be really annoying for mages, but if they already discounted everything, I don't know, we'll see. But it's like a mini Lotheb that you have to play around. I just think it's really cool. I think it's going to be annoying to play against, so I think it's a good card. Anytime I look at it and go, I don't want to see that card played against me. I know it's good. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I think it's a good card. I think we're going to definitely see it played.
Return of Even Hunter.
Hey, actually, I saw Seth playing it not too long ago. I think hit rank 1 legend with Even Hunter not that long. It was last season, or the season before, back in, I think it was October. So, cool. Yeah, I don't know. It is possible. So,
if Ignite Mage is, or the Drekthar Mage is, in the meta, Even Hunter is poised pretty well, and this helps it be poised even better.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
All right, so this is our last card. This is the card coming up next that we collectively rated the highest. And so here it is, Wildheart Guff. This is the new Druid hero card. So this is a 5 mana hero card. It gives you 5 armor. Battle Cry. Set your maximum mana to 20. Gain a mana crystal. Draw a card. Okay, so right off the bat, five mana. Gain a mana crystal. Draw a card. Gain 5 armor. Like, that's crazy all in and of itself, but the new hero powers that come with it. So for 2 mana, you can choose one. You either draw a card, which is basically a life tap without paying the life, right? Or you can hero power to gain a mana crystal. Like, this just seems nutty to me. Now, we're talking wild, and so the meta is aggressive, but like, there's zero downside to this card. Like, it's just, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm looking at this and it's kind of crazy. The ongoing meme is that like, oh, I could play Mountain Giant for the full cost, right? Or Molten Giant for the full cost, up to 20 mana. Now, this doesn't give you 20 mana. You play it, you get 1 mana crystal, but your maximum is now 20. It's just this is something that I never even considered. So yeah, this card is nutty. Hydra, what do you think?
I think that there's a lot of Druid specialists out there that are going to absolutely break this card. I'm not somebody who's played a whole lot of Druid, but when I see something like set your maximum mana to 20, I'm like, but Druid already does so much at 10, right? Like, they already do so much. They already spend 20 mana in a turn anyway, right? They spend more than that with their Aviana Coon combo. Like, it seems definitely scary to see that they're gonna give something like this to Druid. But hey, if they're gonna give it to anybody, Druid's the right place for it. So let's go. Let's see what happens. It's exciting for me, right? Because you get used to seeing the same things over and over and whatnot, and then they like, oh yeah, check this out. It's like, all right, bring it on. So I'm excited. I will not be angry when I lose to this for the first couple times. I will later on.
Right.
But at first, it's just going to be, one of those slow claps. Like, yeah, that was cool. I want to do that. I'm adding you as a friend, and can you please give me your list? Because I want to do that now.
That's fun. I can already feel like the sweat dripping down my face as soon as like they play this card, and then each turn it's like, oh, I'm gaining another mana crystal, or it's like, you know what, I'm good with mana. I think I'll draw a card but not pay any life for it. Like, what? Jeez, how does this work with Fandral? Do you get both? Do we know?
So I believe that Fandral reads whenever you play a card, and since you've already played the card, but I could be mistaken. That's just if I recall correctly.
I think I'll look it up, but what are your thoughts on this, Sheep?
Yeah, so my thoughts are, we've talked about Aviana Coon a couple times. What happens if you don't have to play Innervate? What happens if you can just play Aviana and then play Coon because you already have over 10 mana?
Yeah, true.
What happens if you can just play Aviana and not have to worry about playing Coon because you have 14 mana? You can just play 4 more things.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This card is going to get abused in the best way possible. It's going to be it's going to scratch all of those Timmy itches. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to watch it happen. I can't wait to try and make it happen myself and probably flounder hilariously doing it, but having a blast while trying. So it's going to be so much fun. And I think it's actually going to be competitively fun too, which when those two meet, I mean, that's when Hearthstone is at its best, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I looked up Fandral Staghelm here, and for those of you who don't recall, this is a legendary minion from Whispers of the Old Gods, Druid legendary, 4 mana, 3/5. It says your choose one cards and powers have both effects combined. So maybe.
And powers.
That's what it says.
And powers.
So we'll have to try it. I mean,
we will.
That's definitely win more. I'm not saying do it. I'm curious, right? But
yeah. I mean, you're gonna have the mana.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what happens whenever the Death Knight Malfurion, whenever you play your hero power.
Oh,
With
it does.
Vandal.
It gives you both. It gives you both.
It gives you
does.
both. Yeah, then this should give you both too. Because I knew that whenever you played it with Vandal on board already, that you got all four like web spinner dudes. But yeah, I didn't remember what happened with the hero power. All right, yeah, should give you both then. Let's
Wow.
go.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's it for our top. We call like top 10, but we had 13 that kind of tied for our top choices. We do have another handful of cards that we individually liked, so we've got some honorable mentions to go over here. And so, yeah, Hydra. Let's. I'm just gonna cut to the chase and pass it over to you. What are the other cards that you liked that we didn't score quite high enough collectively to make our top 13 here, but that you wanted to chat about tonight?
Sure. Yeah. So I was really interested in what they were sort of bringing to Hunter this time around. And I just wanted to highlight the hero, which is 6 mana. It is Beast Stalker Tavish, where just like the other ones, you get your 5 armor, and its battle cry is discover and cast 2 improved secrets. And so improved secrets are just a build upon the other ones we kind of already have, right? So
there's only 6, right? So it's not.
Yes.
The pool is pretty low, but like,
which is actually kind of a good thing, right? Because like imagine Kazakus's pool was just absolutely massive. You kind of know what you're getting into when you're doing this. And the board state may be in a certain way. You know your matchup, right? So you can sort of select the correct ones, hopefully, for the situation. And so it's just an improvement on the secrets that are already in the game. So Explosive Trap, for example, does 3 damage to all enemies. And Freezing Trap, now when it returns the card to your opponent's deck, it costs 4 more. Snake Trap, instead of the 3/1/1 snakes, you get 2/2 snakes. We have Pack Tactics. You get 2 3/3 copies. And for Open the Cages, sorry, the lettering is so small and I need glasses.
yeah, I've got it here. It says when your turn starts, if you control 2 minions, summon 2 animal companions instead of 1.
2. Yeah, that's great. And then for the improved Ice Trap, instead of the spell costing 1 more, we talked about this card earlier, it's going to cost 2 more now. So I think that this is really cool if we're going to be either playing a secret hunter or a more controlling hunter. It's really neat to have this hero in the game. And because you can take Hunter in a different direction than it is in Wild right now. In Wild right now, we talked a little bit about Even Hunter. You don't see that very much. Before we had the quest line, it was just straight up regular Odd Hunter. Now it's Odd Quest. And so I think it's really neat if we could start playing Secret Hunter. So I think it's a really neat card. And then we get a new hero power, right? So the hero power is always Huffer. It's Animal Companion in a hero power. So Animal Companion costs 3 mana as a card when you play it anyway. So this hero power is going to cost 3 mana as well. So, I mean, it would have been great if it cost 2. It probably would have been kind of broken if it was 2 mana hero power. But it's just an engine. It keeps going. So if you want, you don't have a play to make, you can just keep hero powering when you're still, digging through your deck or whatever. I just think it's a really neat hero, and hopefully that we can play some sort of secret hunter, or it can go in a more controlling style hunter. And before I speak about the next card I have, do you guys have any opinions on this?
Question for you. Does it says hero power summon an animal companion? I assume it's a random animal companion.
Yeah, it's just like the card. You don't get to discover it.
It doesn't.
If you got to discover, I think it would be a little broken.
Hey, I mean, it costs
Then
3.
it would literally always be Huffer.
Right? Oh, man.
Yeah. Of note, the improved secrets, it does not matter if you have for example, Explosive Trap, right? If you already have Explosive Trap up, you can still discover the improved Explosive Trap.
Oh, snap.
Meanwhile, if you discovered the improved explosive trap, your opponent doesn't proc it. The next turn you draw explosive trap, you can still play explosive trap because they're technically different secrets. So just a kind of mechanical thing that's of note and makes it even more exciting, truthfully.
Nice.
It makes it so much more difficult to play around because
Yeah.
you can have multiple of the quote unquote same thing. So I think it's really cool. I think it's really fun. It's something I'm going to play around with. I don't know if it's going to, it most likely won't be some sort of, top tier deck, but I think it's cool. So that's why I wanted to highlight it. I think it's really cool. And I'd like to explore the archetype.
Yeah. No, I mean, if nothing else, it's good value, right? So 6 mana for not only you get 5 armor, but then you get 2 secrets that would cost at least 2 each. These ones would cost more because they're better. So right off the bat, it's, you get the 4 value for the secrets plus the 5 armor. Like 6 mana is good. I love seeing hero cards that don't cost 10 or 9. Like they're like intended for mid game as opposed to late game, so that the game can continue on after you play this. Although I suppose not for all that long, but like, yeah, seems crazy to me. And my hope is that maybe we'll see like Spell Hunter revitalize. I know like Secret Hunter maybe, but like even Spell Hunter in general, we have the legendary weapon from way back when. Rockdalar. We've got, a handful of other things. We've got also the Vol'jin hero that will replay your spells. And so there's some, shenanigans that we can do. And back in the day, Spell Hunter was a legitimate deck. And so maybe this is good enough to bring it back, or maybe it's just fun, You're reminded, Sheep and I were talking about this right before the show, is thinking about waiting to ladder until after this new set comes out just to play with the new cards for a change. And so I'm excited to just play around with it and try it and see how it goes. And if if it's not super competitive, at least it'll be fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Nate, you mentioned the mana cost being of note. I know that we, when we're playing Even Hunter, we tend to go low to the ground, but this is 6 mana. We could play this in Even Hunter too, as like a basically break class in case of X, Y, or Z, right?
Well,
will that be good? I don't know. Maybe, but it'll be fun.
I mean, they ran Rexar in like aggressive decks as a break glass in case of, right?
That's
like,
what I was going to say. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's pretty cool. And what I do like is it seems like, 6 mana do nothing at this point in time, right? You're not developing the board or whatever. But I mean, that improved explosive trap's pretty good. So you're versing an aggressive deck and you play this, they gotta know you're picking that. Right, but because
if presented
there's your board clear. So I think that's really cool. Either we throw it into Even Hunter or it has a new archetype. Time will tell. The next card that I brought actually sort of fits into the Secret Hunter archetype, and that is Dun Baldar Bunker, and it is a 2 mana hunter spell that reads, at the end of your turn, draw a secret and change its cost to 1. This lasts 3 turns. So, wait, Hunter has draw? No way!
Right? And targeted draw. Oh!
And targeted draw. So, like, that's something that Hunter, as, like, how each class has certain things that they are good at doing. Hunter is not good at drawing cards, and this is excellent if you're going to be running any sort of secret build, because it costs 2 mana. That's not very much. You get your money back because you are drawing a secret for 3 turns in a row, and they're discounted each time by 1 mana each. So you're actually paying 2 mana, but you're getting, I guess, 3 mana's worth, because you're discounting 3 cards for 1 mana each. So you get your money back and more with this card at a slight tempo loss, unless you actually get to play one of these secrets on that turn. Or I guess you wouldn't, because it's at the end of your turn. But I think it's really cool because Hunter historically does not have draw, and I would slot that into a deck that I'm running Beastalker Tavish in for some secret fun.
Yeah, I think it's actually incredible that it's at the end of your turn, because that means at your very next turn, at the end of your turn, you draw it at the end of that turn, so you can kind of plan what you want to do with the secret that you've drawn. That's discounted, right? Like, do you want to play that? Do you want to hold on to it? Kind of what do you want to do with that situation? But then you get to play it your next turn. So it both gives you the time to plan that out, which is great. And then you get to play it while not that same exact turn. You get to play it the very next turn, and then you continue drawing. Like, that's really cool.
And you can run 2 of these if you want to just be able to tutor your secrets throughout, hopefully the beginning of the game, get these all out like from the get-go. I think it's really cool. Nate, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah,
card?
I just sorry, Sheep one. Yeah.
Yeah, one more thing. Relevant. This is 2 mana. So if we're doing even hunter shenanigans with secrets, you can still run this in it. That was the tying my comments up into the neat.
I like it. I mean,
Good point.
So I remember people asking way back when, like, why is patches good? Because it thins the deck. And that is one of the things that I like about this. It's like, hey, this draws me secrets at the end of my turn. Cost reduction, I think, is great always. Anytime I see reduce cost by, I think that's great. Or this is set cost to 1, which is awesome. But that means that I don't have to draw these secrets later. My top deck just got that much better. And so, like Hydra mentioned, Hunter lacks draw. Like, I may jam this in a super aggressive Hunter list that's just running aggressive secrets. The even Hunter seems okay because then I'm going to draw into, the spells or weapons or minions that I want instead of drawing into my secrets. So I like it. It seems strong to me. One last thing to note is that this card we are all going to be getting in gold for free by competing in the Horde versus Alliance honor challenge. So that's
To battle.
To battle. Yes. All right. Sheep, what about you in terms of honorable mention cards that you liked that didn't quite make our top 13?
Yeah, so the first honorable mention that I want to mention honorably is Belinda Stonehearth. So Belinda Stonehearth is a 6 mana 5/5 legendary mage minion. The battle cry: draw 2 spells, swap their costs with this minion's stats. So Belinda's a 5/5. If she draws 2 cards, I was talking about a Spiteful Summoner Mage earlier, right? So you're running high cost spells. Let's say they're both, 8 drops. Oh, well, now they only cost 5 and Belinda's an 8/8 for 6 mana. That's actively what you want to do. You tutoring your spells, discounting your spells, making her even stronger. Like, it's everything that deck wants to do. And that's just fantastic.
Oh my God. What? So when you put in like Yogg Box or something like that, like 10 cost spells, so this now becomes a 6 mana 10/10 or whatever. Like, you draw 2, right? And so this thing it gets very large. Okay, so
yeah, and so if you only run 10 drop spells in your deck, so they're Pyroblast, they're Yogg Box, then she becomes a 6 mana 10/10. And those spells become 5 mana. So if you're only running 2 Pyroblasts, for example, which I don't recommend, because if you draw one of those before you get to play Belinda, then oops. Let's say that's all that's still in your deck at this point. Then you have 2 5 mana Pyroblasts.
oh my God. Hey, how does it work so it says swap their costs with this minion's stats. So is it like whatever one you draw first is now swapped for the attack, and the next one you draw is swapped for the health? Or
I believe it's attack first and then health, but I could have that mixed up. One of them always corresponds with one stat and the other with the other. I believe it's attack first, but I don't recall specifically.
They don't stack.
they don't stack. Yeah,
that's how I first read it. Is that if you draw like 2 Yogg Boxes, this becomes a 20/20?
Oh God,
that would be insane.
Hey, I believe this is one of our diamond cards as well, is it not?
It is, yes, very much so. And I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play a Spiteful Summon before a couple of the later cards, like right after Belinda was announced. I theory crafted a Spiteful Summoner Belinda deck that was like a elemental one. I'm gonna scrap the elemental idea. This is just gonna be a Spiteful Summoner deck, and it's gonna be so much fun. Is it gonna be competitively viable? We'll find out. Probably not. But is it going to be fun? You betcha. What do y'all think about Belinda Stonehearth?
Yeah, this looks cool. This is one for me that I really want to try. I feel like it'll be better in standard than it will be in wild, but that it's still going to be super fun regardless. It does have potential, and I don't fancy myself as the best deck builder. I'm more of a pilot, but I think that it's definitely a build around, and there's some fun things that you can do with it, and probably there's probably some kind of funky wombo combos that you can do. I mean, tutor draw is always good, and so like you said, maybe I just put 10 cost spells in my deck, or giant cost spells, and getting a couple of discounted pyroblasts may be a good thing. You can dust off some of our old cards we haven't played in a while, and this will be great. I'm always looking forward to new things. Like, it's kind of sad when we get a new expansion and Secret Mage is still the best mage deck, right? Not that that's the one that has been played for so long, or Ignite Mage, or whatever it happens to be. So if we can create some kind of new deck, like, that pleases me to no end. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I am interested to watch you play it, or someone like Brian O'Brien play it that can really like utilize it to its fullest potential, and then I can steal it and try it for myself. So yeah, Hydra, what do you think?
Truthfully, when I first read this card, I was definitely confused. As I already said, I didn't understand how the stats were going to work. And when I saw that, Sheep wanted to talk about it, I was just zoning in and listening to you, because I didn't fully get it. But after you have explained this, I think that playing it in like a big spell, spiteful style mage just sounds like an absolute blast. I don't know if it's going to be competitive or not, but when I do win, it's going to be fantastic. So it just seems one of those cards that's really, really fun to play. May not be the best, but it looks just fantastically fun. I like it.
Yeah, like your face. And this also kind of combos with the card that was on our list in Shivering Sorceress, right? 1 mana 2/2. If we're playing a Spiteful Summoner deck with Belinda, hey, if we draw those cards, all of a sudden they're cheaper. Let's be real, in a Spiteful Summoner deck, if you don't draw the cards, well, there's so many big spells in Mage, right? Like, you can run more than just the critical mass that Spiteful Summoner decks were running before, right?
Well, and
but also, if you don't draw them before, on turn 1, you can still just play the Sorceress without getting value. Like, that's fine. Holding onto it for value is a misplay at that point.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. I think in Spiteful Summoner decks, like, it was, value minions. We want minions that can trade up, that are good stats for the cost. And so this fits right in, like a 1 mana 2/2 fits perfect in a Spiteful Summoner deck, right? And like you said, if you don't get the battle cry effect, then too bad, but it's still a good 1-drop. So yeah, no, it seems strong. I like it.
And so the other one that I brought is Captain Galvinger. I don't know if it's Galvanger, Galvangar. I go Captain Galvinger. So Captain G is a 6 mana 6/6 warrior legendary with the battle cry. If you have gained 15 or more armor this game, gain +3/+3 and charge. Charge. So I think of Captain Galvinger as basically, you take Dead Man's Hand Warrior, you remove the Dead Man's Hand, and you throw in Captain Galvinger, you throw in Bloodsworn Mercenary, you throw in, is it? I always blank on the name. It's not Inner Fire, but the 0 mana, deal 1 damage, give it +2 attack, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, if you've, at some point throughout the game, gained 15 or more armor, does not have to currently be on your hero, right? You've gained 15 or more armor. This is now a 6 mana 9/9 with charge. That seems like a pretty easy ask, specifically in Wild, right? Which is what we're talking about. All of a sudden, you play the Inner Rage. You play Inner Rage. All of a sudden, it's a 6 mana 11/11. If you play Inner Rage again, 11, 8. So 11 attack. Play Inner Rage again, 13 attack. You play Bloodsworn Mercenary, 26 attack. That's, a 4-card combo for 9 mana, but it's 26. If you are playing Emperor Thaurissan, which would be the improper way to play it, but and discounted things for 2 mana's worth. You can play 10 mana, all of that plus another Bloodsworn Mercenary, and have 30, or sorry, because it's 13 per, right? So 39 burst damage.
Oh my god, I forgot all about Bloodsworn Mercenary.
Yep. Yeah. So what Bloodsworn Mercenary does is it has to be damaged, which is why the inner rage is so important, right? So if you have a damaged minion, you can copy it. So Captain Galvinger has charge, inner rage, damages it, which activates the possibility for Bloodsworn Mercenary to copy it. If you've inner raged twice, then it's 13 attack. Boom. 26 burst damage, and something that is just trying to stay alive outside of the combo pieces. And you don't have to run that many combo pieces. Like I said, running Emperor Thaurissan, while it's win more, you're not going to need 39 damage. You want, like 26 is sufficient. So double inner rage, Captain Galvinger, and Bloodsworn Mercenary. You only have one inner rage. Oh no, you're only charging forward for what was it? 24?
Oh my god.
22? 22.
Gross.
So, yeah. It's a pretty strong finisher. This is, like I said, you take Dead Man's Hand Warrior, you take out Dead Man's Hand. You've got 5 cards to weave in double Bloodsworn Mercenary, double Inner Rage, and Captain Galvinger, and boom, all of a sudden, combo deck.
Well, and you remember how ETC Warrior, like people were running that competitively for a long time, and there was an OTK, but like it was like kind of a long drawn out process to make sure that you drew everything and discounted whatever you needed to. And like, we tried it and it was fun, but it was difficult, and like there were so many moving pieces. When you have a combo that's pretty dialed in, like all you got to do is stall for long enough, which Warrior can do. And there are a handful of cards that can tutor other cards as well. And so, like it's just crazy to me. This is awesome. I love it.
Well, yeah, I don't think does Warrior want to do that, but in order to activate the charge, you have to do that, right? Because you have to get 15 armor over the course of the game to activate the charge. You're going to have to stall.
Yeah, and it's built into Warrior's hero power, right? Like that's what they
exactly.
do. There's shield block and other things. Like Warrior was designed to gain armor, so it's just asking you to do what the class was designed to do from the first place. So I think the combo that you laid out said it best, and I want to do it.
I can't wait to do it either.
Should it be a pirate? I mean, it doesn't matter, but he's a captain.
It says captain, but I think it's more like captain of the horde kind of style, because if you look at the art, then it doesn't really look piratey, unfortunately.
No. I mean, if you threw a hat on him, I'd be convinced. I mean, look at Patches, right? Throw a patch and a hat on.
He's in charge now. I mean, yar.
Yeah, I know, right? I was sold when I just read that this had charge, and they're putting it in standard. That sold me, because it seemed like something that they were sort of trying to weed out of standard. So, meh.
Yeah, no, it seems crazy. Anytime you see a warrior with charge, like, okay, we just saw Mr. Smite, right? 6 mana, 6/6 charge, being crazy good. Now there's the added effect of like all your pirates have charge, but like charge is crazy. And the potential for like OTK is always fun. So, hey, this is pretty awesome. I love it.
Absolutely. So that wraps up my honorable mentions. Nate, what cards would you like to mention honorably?
Yeah, okay, so I've got 2 here as well. And so the first one up is, of course, I'm a big fan of Warlock, and so this is the new Warlock hero card, Dreadlich Tamsin. From a lore perspective, by the way, it's just so much fun. We saw the Hearthstone dev team teasing in the Cariel solo content that like it's Cariel versus Tamsin, and one of them is not going to make it out alive, and I was like, yeah, she's already undead, whatever. But like the progression of like human to undead, and now we see Tamsin in lich form, which is super cool. So I love that, right? But right off the bat, Warlock likes to get broken things, 6 mana, gain 5 armor, deal 3 damage to everything, draw 3 cards, and then shuffle 3 Rifts into your deck, it's just a lot. It's a lot of things for the mana cost. The only downside that I see to this card is that by shuffling 3 Rifts into your deck, like if I'm trying to play a Reno deck, now my Reno effects are all turned off now. That being said, like this seems solid in even Warlock. It seems solid in like any Warlock. It just seems crazy. The effect is great. So a little mini board clear, drawing cards. This still works with the quest if you want to kill your opponent with fatigue. And then looking at the hero power real quick is it's called Change of Dread. So 2 mana, shuffle a Rift into your deck and draw a card. And so you still have the life tap, but you don't pay life for it. And then the Rift card, it's called Fel Rift. It is a Fel spell cast when drawn. Summon a 3/3 Dread Imp. And so you'll have a handful of these things in your deck, but as you get to them, they're little 3/3s. So we've seen that effect with other cards before that didn't see a whole lot of play. But it seems fun to me, and I just love it. I think that there's a lot of potential here, and I'm not quite sure what deck to slot it in. I think even Warlock, like easily, why not? Drawing cards is great. I guess it does change your hero power, and so that potentially goofs up the deck. But God, it's so much flavor and such a value generator card here that I'm a big fan. Any thoughts, Hydra?
When I first looked at it, I was a little confused. I didn't know, where this really fits. I don't know if like there's a home for it right away, but I do love the hero power. I think that's, sort of my favorite thing. Who doesn't love life tap where you don't take damage? So I think that's really neat. But if somebody builds a deck that fits in wild with this, I'm all for it. I'm not the best Warlock deck builder, but I think this is really interesting. It's a new direction. We've seen Warlock, with Pain Warlock or whatever we want to call what is happening with Warlock right now. And then we've seen, Cube Lock. Old school Zoo hasn't been much of a thing for a long time. So if there is a new archetype that sort of comes out of this, or we can squeeze this into maybe Even Lock, like you said, I think that's really neat. I'm always excited when Blizzard decides to release things that, switches things up for the class a little bit. As wild players, we've sort of seen the same thing, sometimes over and over again, as you mentioned with Secret Mage. That will be the deck for that class that goes on expansion after expansion. So if this becomes a thing, I think it's going to be really cool. Sheep, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think removing the health payment for life tap typically has a really large barrier to get there, right? This one, all you have to do is play a 6 mana card that also draws you 3 cards and gives you 5 armor, and not only makes your hero power, not have the life expenditure, drawback, but also gives it an active addition with shuffling the 3/3 cast when drawn dudes in there too, the rifts, right? I want all of those things. I don't know if I necessarily want to slot Dreadlich Tamsin into Evenlock, specifically because Evenlock, you play a lot of cards that benefit the you having lower health. So you probably want to have lower health for that. Also, whenever you play that, then your hero power will cost 2 again instead of 1. So I don't know if I really would want to kind of play it in Evenlock, just because the thing that it removes, which is a detriment for most things, is a boon for Evenlock. But I feel like I would want to play this in pretty much everything else except for Reno Lock. Right? Remove the downside to life tap, actively shuffle in 3/3s. I want that. I feel like I would, do that. And as I said, everything except for Reno Lock, because if I'm shuffling additional 3/3s in there, I'm turning off my Highlander synergies, and that I don't want.
Right.
But pretty much anything else, I want that. I would very much like that, please. Give me that on 6. I want to play this on 6.
Right?
Yes.
I like it just for the battle. Just the battle cry alone is great. So yeah, this is a fun one for me. Well, and the 3 damage too. I mean, it's going to take care of quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, so the riffs I don't care so much about. You know, it's nice to get one, but like, yeah, you know, whatever. Anyways, yeah, this is going to be fun. And I see it being, you know, there's an immediate impact, I think, to standard. We'll definitely play this. In wild, we'll definitely experiment with it. In any sort of, like you said, non-specific, like Reno Lock, and I agree with you probably about the Even Warlock, because you want the one mana hero power and want to be doing damage to yourself. But like, this seems great. You know, Control Warlock was big for a while. Q Block was big for a long time. Something like that keeps all the upsides without the downsides, like, seems fantastic. So yeah, I love it. I have one more to talk about here. The other card is Ivus, the Forest Lord. So this is a 1 mana 1/1 neutral legendary with battle cry. Spend the rest of your mana and gain +2/+2 rush, divine shield, or taunt at random for each. And so this rolls it at random, but I saw in the dev discussion, once you have obtained Rush, Divine Shield, and Taunt, the buffs will then stack. And so, because you can't get multiple, you know, Rushes or Divine Shields or Taunts. And so if I play this on, you know, 6, 7, 8, whatever mana, like later in the game, like not only is it going to have Rush, Divine Shield, and Taunt, but it's also going to get like +2/+2, +2/+2, +2/+2, and be pretty awesome. So, you know, granted, you have to spend all your mana on it, but hey, I think this could be a lot of fun. Not to mention, it's an odd cost card, and so you know, you want to throw it in some odd deck, like why not? Could be fun. But I do think it's going to be good. It's a little bit random, which is the downside that I see to it. You know, and if I play it for, you know, 3 mana, okay, I'm going to get 2 of these, and what if they're not the 2 that I want? But like, they're all pretty good. I don't know. Like, remember when Transfer Student came out and people were trying it in even decks for a little while just because it was kind of fun? Like, and the upsides were, you know, pretty good, but they were random because they're based on the board. Like, at least the pool is small and the upsides are good, and that the buffs stack, I think is kind of awesome. And I think also that, you know, Gen and Baku are always going to be a thing. And so odd cost cards here like this could slot into something if you have a flex spot. I don't know. It just seems fun to me. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Hydra, any thoughts?
I never thought of just jamming it into a random odd deck, but that's actually kind of cool. When I first looked at the card, I didn't think much of it. I think it's kind of I thought it was, oh, that's pretty cool. But you could just throw it into, you know, here it is in Odd Paladin, here it is in Odd Rogue. Just, you know, throw it out, whatever, see what you get. Sometimes you're going to high roll, sometimes it's going to be meh. But I think in general, you're going to end up with something pretty decent. I don't know how staple it's going to be, but I do think you have it right. I think that it's super fun. And if I open this in packs on, like, say, my EU or Asia account, I'm just going to jam this into one of my odd decks for sure. Like, just because I can. Because I think that, like you said, it's fun and you can just, you know, roll with it. I don't know. Do you guys have, like, an actual, like, specific, like, it doesn't have a tribe, right? So I don't see it in any specific deck that's based on anything. It just seems like something random you'd throw in, maybe in a flex spot sort of thing. Right.
Yeah, but if you got a flex spot in Odd Rogue or, you know, I don't know, whatever, something, you could toss it in. Or, you know, in any other deck for that matter, there's a handful of, like, hey, this is a battle cry. I mean, you can throw it into, you know, your shaman deck that says your battle cries trigger twice, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, because it's neutral, like, there's some more flexibility to it. And like, this is one of these that, like, it looks kind of fun. I don't know how, like, competitively viable it's going to be. Like, it could be surprisingly good. Like, if you play this for 10 mana, it's going to be pretty crazy, right? If you play it for less, you know, I don't know. it doesn't really work with Shudderwalk or whatever, because Shudderwalk costs 9, so I can spend 1 more mana and get maybe Divine Shield or Taunt or +2/+2.
Yeah,
you know,
probably
so
wouldn't
like
run it in that Shaman deck, especially because even if your battle cries are doubled, you've already spent the mana, so you're spending 0 more mana and won't really get the benefit there. But that is strong outside of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, were you going to say a little bit more before I
Oh
go into
no,
my
yeah,
streaming?
I don't know where it goes. It just looks fun to me, and I saw it. I think I want to try this. I think this is actually pretty decent. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I will happily pass the mic to you.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the name. Ibis. I was about to call it Ixlid, but that's another card. I think that Ibis is going to be a fun card. I think that it's one that we'll play around with for the novelty, especially in odd cost decks to be more playing new cards, finding out what's good. I think that Ibis will probably work its way out of decks before too long, not just because of the random factor, but because the places that tend to have a little bit more of that flex area are things that are odd cost, and typically things that are odd cost are either really refined already, like odd paladin. I don't know that there's really kind of a wiggle room in there, or aren't really ones that you'd want to be playing like big old piles of stats and other effects like odd rogue. So am I gonna play it? Yeah, it's gonna be fun, especially towards the beginning of the season or the expansion, where we're trying to play around with all the things and see what's good and what's not, and more than just that, have fun with the new cards, right? But whenever we're trying to push for competitive viability, it'll probably worm its way out, but that doesn't mean it's actively bad, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. And really, like Squelch says, Hearthstone is a game, and games are meant to be fun.
Yes.
That's why I play the game.
It's easy to forget that sometimes.
Right? So I'm going to play this card. I'm going to have fun. Is it going to be a super competitive card in our format of Wild? Probably not. But is it going to be fun to play in our format of Wild? Probably. So that'll be fun. What do you think, Hydra?
Yeah. No, I just think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that it's a fun card. It may not be the most competitive card, but right at that beginning, as soon as the expansion drops, this is when you're going to jam it in your deck. And people are going to be like, really? Hovering over that card? What the heck was that? So, no, I think we've said it all. I think you guys really spoke the most on this and, sort of wrap that one up. I think it's fun. Not the best, but I'm going to play it too.
Very good, very good. All right, well, that wraps it up for our top cards for the new expansion, including our honorable mentions. And so, yeah, we're moving right along here, kind of towards the end of the show. Let me pass things over to you, Sheep.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our listener series. So the Born to Be Wild listener series, season 4, will be starting soon, trademark. For those of you who may not be familiar or missed last season's listener series, the Born to Be Wild listener series is a free Wild Hearthstone tournament series where we have innovative deck building challenges for you to rise up to the occasion. We historically, and probably next season, will have 5 weeks of regular season play with new challenges every single week, and then 3 weeks of playoffs. So the top 8 challengers will face off in the playoffs, and they will, culminate in the finals, and we will name our new champion, just like in season 3. Jordan MG won our listeners series then. So check that out. More information to come out shortly. The season will likely begin towards the beginning of January. So stay tuned for that. You'll actually have some time to play around with the cards and see what you may want to do with that. We will, like last season, announce all of the regular season challenges whenever signups are live. So if you're looking at a few of those challenges, have a few ideas, Want to sign up? Hop on over to our Discord, to our website, borntobewildhs.com. Check out the Listener Series tab and read up on that. And as I said, it'll likely start at the beginning of January. So for more information, stay tuned.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, looking forward to having the next season start. And stay tuned for more info. Hydra, can you tell us please about this past week's listener challenge?
Form feet and legs. Form arms and torso. And I'll form the head. So, our last week's challenge was based on mechs because we had a bunch of mech skins and that were released and they're super cool. So just wanted to do a little Voltron shout out there. I don't know if I did that justice or not. But so the idea was to build the largest mech that was magnetized with other mechs using as many as you possibly could. And so we had some submissions there, and we ended up with our one and only Goliath the Dwarf, who managed to make a 3244 Arcane Nullifier X21 that had, as far as we can tell, at least 10 different magnetic components. And so you can't fully see how long the list is because it seems to go off the screen here.
It ran off the page.
There's more.
I cannot see how far it goes, but a clear winner. So congratulations, Goliath the Dwarf. Reach out to us. We'll reach out to you. We'll send you your packs. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. It's always really fun to see what everybody comes up with. And this one I just thought was hilarious because there's a whole bunch of things. The missile launcher's in there. I see Snip Snap is in there. War gear. Congratulations, Goliath.
Look at this. It's on an arcane nullifier, so it cannot be targeted by spells or hero powers. And so your opponent just can't touch it. Like, they got to run minions into it. It's as it sits right now, it's been damaged, and it's a 3244.
They went for it.
It's like
that was clever.
It's the perfect minion to drop and then magnetize. I love it. Great job, Goliath.
Yeah, really good thinking with doing it on a cannot be targeted minion. That's absolute genius. So for our this coming week's challenge for Frozen in Alterac, since we're getting some long anticipated for a very long time now free shaman support, we're gonna dust off an old card that maybe you've dusted, maybe you haven't, but for anybody who still has a Murabi, and I do not encourage anybody to craft this card, but if you happen to have a Murabi somewhere in your collection, this week's challenge is generate as many minions as possible using Murabi. You don't have to play them, but we have to see that you have them in your hand, that they've been generated by Murabi. And so we're going to have a tiebreaker that is the most legendary minions generated by Murabi. So if there's a tiebreaker, if you have one or two legendaries in there, that's going to break the tie. So, and if nobody remembers, Murabi is the shaman legendary for the free shaman that never happened. It's the 6 mana minion that reads, whenever another minion is frozen, add a copy of it to your hand. So this is how you're going to be generating these cards. And coming Tuesday, right? Tuesday when the set drops, we are going to have more freeze cards. So it's probably better to maybe do this challenge post Tuesday.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see everybody's submissions. So this is how you participate. Challenges can be played in casual or in ladder. We don't want you to tank your rank trying to do this, so we do accept casual. Though you cannot play against a friend in a friendly match. You cannot play against the innkeeper or any of the other solo content things because they're gonna let you win. Even if it's the AI, they're still gonna let you win because they're not trying too hard anyway. So only casual, only ladder. Those are the only two things. Take a screenshot, post it in our Discord in the weekly challenges channel. The winner will be announced on next week's show, and you will receive 2 Hearthstone packs on us, and you will be immortalized in the Hall of Fame on the Born to Be Wild website, which Nate actually has been updating recently, and I must say it is looking better and better. I was super astonished when I looked at it the other day. So if you want to be...
Nate's been killing it.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to be immortalized on the website, this is how you do it. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the randomness that everybody gets in their hands and how much you guys can do.
Sounds fun. Yeah, thank you. I've been working on the website. I'm hoping to finish it up this weekend. It's about half done right now, but trying to revamp it, give it a little facelift and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what crazy things y'all can come up with. Playing Murabi because it's Murabi, and been wanting to play this card for at least a couple of years now. So yeah. Anyways, thank you all for joining us. That wraps up this week's show. For more wild content or to see where you can find us all individually, visit us online at our website, www.borntobewildhs.com. Yeah. Tune in next week. Next week's special topic will be joined by resident lore master Goliath the Dwarf to talk about the lore behind Fractured and Alterac, which will be so much fun. We always enjoy doing the lore episodes, and so I cannot wait. And so, yeah.
Excitement abounds!
That is right. And so join us next week for another new episode of Born to Be Wild. Job's done.
Yeah, nice.
You got that right.